Megatron Griffin is the oldest child and the only daughter in the Griffin family. However, in one surprising moment, Brian revealed that her real father might be Stan Thompson.
Hell, if I was half the parent Brian is, I'd know that Chris's favorite ice cream is
chocolate chip.
And Stewie's favorite bedtime story is
Goodnight Moon.
And Meg's real father's name is
Stan Thompson.
Could this shocking truth be the reason why Meg is constantly neglected and treated like an outsider by her own family? Meg currently attends James Woods Regional High School, but due to her shy personality and lack of standout traits, she's often the target of cruel jokes or treated like she's invisible. However, there might be something unusual lurking beneath Meg's quiet exterior. Evidence shows that she's not always the helpless victim. At times, she can explode in the most unexpected, even dangerously intense ways, leaving everyone around her stunned. It all began when Meg fell in love with a prisoner named Luke. During one of his prison breaks to see her, Luke was caught by the police, and Meg was arrested too, sentenced to 3 months in jail for harboring a fugitive.
Well, if you're taking him to jail, you have to take me too!
I know, that's the plan. You're under arrest for harboring an escaped convict.
Oh, well, that's only fair because after all, I did hide him from the— What?!
That prison stay changed Meg forever. It awakened a beast inside her. When her release day finally came, her family forgot to pick her up. Just as they remembered and were about to leave, Meg walked through the front door on her own. Gone was a shy girl with a pink beanie. Instead, Meg stepped into the house completely transformed, covered in tattoos, wearing a tank top, a red bandana on her head, and eyes sharp as blades, like a hardened gang leader. At first, the family was merely surprised by her appearance, still unaware of the danger she now carried.
First question. Who's the biggest, toughest guy in this house?
Her first question echoed the one she used in every prison cell to assert dominance and avoid being bullied. Peter, clueless as ever, answered casually.
Well, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I believe I hold the distinction of...
But before he could finish, Meg pounced on him, beating him to a pulp and declaring that she was now the ruler of the house.
My house now, bitch! Now who's the funniest?
She repeated her question, and this time the entire family stayed silent, clearly realizing something was very different and terrifying about Meg. No one dared respond, except one unfortunate soul.
I know my way around a joke.
There better be beer in the fridge.
Meg didn't just change her attitude. She drank beer and kept up prison habits like group showers. This time dragging Peter in as the victim, perhaps payback for all the times he's tormented her.
Meg! What the hell are you doing in here?
Shower time.
Yeah, for me, not for... What are you doing with that loofah?
Don't worry about it.
Ah! You told me not to worry about it! I should have been worried the whole time!
She also used a bucket at the foot of her bed as a toilet and used Lois's clothes as toilet paper.
It's my poop bucket.
What the hell?
I'm used to going to the bathroom in my room.
At school, when her former bullies tried their usual tricks, Meg beat them all up brutally. Everyone watching was stunned and terrified, no longer recognizing the once meek and awkward Meg. She was soon suspended.
Peter, Meg's been suspended from school.
That's okay, whatever she wants to do.
She cracked 3 kids' skulls open. Ever since she's gotten out of prison, she's completely out of control.
When she returned home, the whole family jumped in fear and quickly blamed Stewie. Even Stewie, the evil genius baby, looked genuinely terrified, his face showing pure panic.
Punch yourself in the face. Punch yourself in the face. All right, he doesn't know what he's doing. You fatso, punch your baby in the face.
Lois tried to explain that they were just worried about Meg, but Meg felt she no longer belonged and decided to leave. She held Brian at gunpoint and forced him to drive her to the Goldman pharmacy. There, Meg robbed more at the counter, but Brian stopped her, threatening to call the police if she didn't stop. That's when Meg confessed. She didn't care if she went back to prison because she believed no one cared about her anyway.
Good! Call the police! I want you to! What do I care if I go back to prison? Nobody cares about me anyway!
Brian then pulled out a newspaper article he had written about her.
And in the face of every adolescent challenge, she looks at the world through hopeful eyes and maintains an uncommon resilience that can only be admired. In this sense, Meg Griffin is not the typical American girl. She is far sweeter and kinder than that.
Filled with genuine emotion and admiration, it helped Meg realize the truth. She had lost herself. But now, thanks to Brian, she was finally ready to come back to who she really was. There's one thing everyone knows about Meg Griffin. She's the official punching bag of the Griffin family. Whenever something goes wrong, big or small, Meg always ends up taking the blame. But everything changed one rainy day. A massive storm forced the entire family to stay inside. No electricity, no going out, no entertainment. Just the Griffins stuck together. And Meg surrounded by non-stop mouths. Everyone was enjoying a game of finger guns until Meg joined in and was immediately shunned.
Bang, bang!
I'm gonna finger bang the two of you at the same time. Bang, bang!
Hey, me too! Bang!
Oh, no one wants to get finger banged by you, Meg.
Why don't you just go do that to yourself, Meg?
Even when she wasn't doing anything, like just reading comics and opening a soda can, Peter still snapped at her for making noise while he was singing.
Damn it, Meg, will you stop that? That is so annoying.
That was the final straw. Meg finally snapped. Though Lois and Chris quickly sided with Peter, Meg stood her ground and lashed out at everyone in the room. Lois tried to calm her down and play the kind mother role, but ended up blaming Meg for ruining the mood. That's when Meg stood up and unleashed everything she had been bottling up for years. She started with Chris. She reminded him that he was her little brother, yet he never once stood by her and instead treated her like trash.
You say hurtful things to me constantly. Do you have any idea what that feels like? What if I said those things to you? What if I started calling you a fat, zitty loser who has no friends and smells like an old woman who has birds for pets?
Chris had no words. Everything Meg said was true. Lois tried to interrupt, but Meg immediately turned her fury towards her mother. She tore apart Lois's fake image of being noble and perfect, revealing a past of full mistakes.
Is this coming from my role model mother? The shoplifter, the drug addict, the porn star, the whore who let Gene Simmons and Bill Clinton go to town on her?
Meg confessed that she had looked up to her mother, hoping for protection, guidance, and support as she faced the fragile path of growing up. But Lois had failed her for 17 years. Meg admitted that once she turned 18, she didn't know if she wanted to see her mother again.
From the moment you gave birth to me, I had to trust you. I had no choice. I needed you to protect me from the world, to be my guide, to help me navigate the difficult, confusing, and vulnerable journey to becoming a person. You have done none of those things.
Lois burst into tears, realizing how horribly she had treated Meg all these years. As Meg poured out her soul, the room fell completely silent. No jokes, no laughter, not even a sound from Stewie, who was usually first in line to mock her. He just sat quietly and listened. Peter, thinking he was off the hook, chimed in by saying, "I don't think I'm part of the story," and then mocked Meg's appearance. That's when Meg went after him. She called Peter a selfish, irresponsible father. She even said Peter was a disgrace in every way, a waste of space and a burden on the planet.
You are completely selfish and totally irresponsible as a father. You're a fat, lazy, abusive, blue-collar Irish Catholic dad who drinks way too much and barely makes enough money to support his family. You're a total and complete embarrassment in every possible way. You're a waste of a man.
After Meg had finally said everything she'd been holding in, Lois scolded Chris for the way he talked to adults. Then Chris and Peter started complaining about Lois's cooking, and Peter got mad that someone had eaten his yogurt, only to find out it was Chris's and he had eaten it. The whole family exploded into another argument, each storming off to their own rooms. Only then did they begin to understand the sadness Meg had always felt, being the one they constantly dumped on. Left alone, Brian sat next to Meg. He told her how cool and brave she was for finally standing up for herself. Meg nodded, knowing everything she said was true, but she wasn't happy. The family was now in conflict because of her, and despite finally being heard, she felt no peace. It was clear that Meg truly loved her family, so she got up, went to each of them, and took the blame to bring them back together.
You guys, I have something to say. You're right. It's all my fault. None of you have done anything wrong. I took all my problems out on you guys, and that wasn't fair.
And just like that, harmony returned. But not for long. Soon, the family was back to teasing Meg again, blaming her for stressing everyone out. But this time, Meg didn't argue. She smiled and took it, because now she understood. If she pushed any harder, the family would fall apart. And despite everything, Meg knew one thing for sure. She was, and always would be, a part of this family. Meg isn't just bullied at home. School is no better. She's constantly ignored, mocked, and made fun of by her classmates. Even her name, Megatron, which Peter sneakily changed at the last minute, became a running joke among her peers.
Peter, would you give this to the nurse?
Uh-huh. Robots in disguise.
But that wasn't the worst of it. Things got serious when a new student named Mike transferred in. He was tall, intimidating, and aggressive. Everyone was terrified of him.
Man, he looks mean.
You're very judgmental lately. I don't like this, Brandon.
One day at lunch, Meg, distracted while chatting, accidentally bumped into Mike and spilled food all over him. She apologized, but it didn't matter. Mike demanded to know her name. Before she could answer, her own brother Chris sold her out.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry!
What's your name, dude?
Meg Griffin!
That was it. Meg was given an appointment at 3 p.m. on Friday. She was going to get dealt with. The situation escalated when even Principal Shepard opened a betting pool on the fight between Meg and Mike, with the whole school watching like it was a pay-per-view. Panicked and overwhelmed, Meg initially broke down, but after some encouragement from a few friends, she began to calm down and look for a way out. But instead of confronting Mike, Meg tried to get expelled, thinking that was the only way to avoid certain doom. Her master plan? Uploading a scandalous video of herself online in hopes that it would go viral and get her kicked out. Unfortunately, it got exactly 1 view, and that was from Stewie, out of pity.
You know what? Good for her.
Running out of options, Meg hired the 4 strongest guys in school to take care of Mike, offering a reward of $1,000.
Okay, I'll just pay you.
Oh yeah? Well, you're looking at $1,000 for something like that.
But the next day, she arrived at school to find a huge crowd gathering around, only to discover those same 4 guys had been completely destroyed. Alongside their bruised bodies was a chilling message. You're next, Meg. Seeing that, Meg could practically visualize her own funeral. A grim premonition of what was to come.
He's going to kill me. I can already picture my funeral.
Thanks, didn't want to pay for the whole.
Even her closest friends distanced themselves out of fear.
Listen, Meg, we decided that maybe it's best if you don't talk to us anymore.
Yeah, we could be targeted by association. I don't want to get beaten up by a guy unless it's in a limo after prom.
But just when all hope seemed lost, Quagmire stepped in. With some disturbing coaching and words of encouragement, he helped Meg prepare to face Mike using her secret weapon. Pure disgust. The day of the fight arrived. As expected, Mike beat Meg down quickly. But with Quagmire cheering her on, Meg regained her resolve and launched her counterattack. She kissed Mike, catching him off guard.
Ugh! Your kiss is definitely not on my list!
Then she squeezed a pimple and fired the contents right at him. Furious, Mike charged at her, only for Meg to lift her shirt and expose him to a horror so extreme, he literally disintegrated into dust. A classic Family Guy moment.
Oh my gosh! Meg won!
Only Quagmire could teach Meg moves that are so grotesque. In the end, Meg won. For once, she stood up for herself and triumphed over her bully in the most bizarre, yet oddly empowering way possible. Meg fell head over heels for a boy at school, Kent. He was handsome, polite, and kind. She couldn't stop daydreaming about him, even almost getting hit by a car on the way home because she was too lost in thought. At home, Stewie and Brian peeked into Meg's diary and revealed just how obsessed she was with Kent. What made it even more special to her was that Kent didn't treat her like she was invisible, unlike everyone else. That alone was enough for Meg to believe in a beautiful love story.
Hey, look at this. Kent is so incredibly sexy. He said hi to me today, and I almost died. Also, I learned a funny lesson today in my pursuit of Kent. Anal bleaching is better left to professionals. LOL. No. Come on now. Come on.
As usual, Meg felt insecure and wasn't sure whether she should confess her feelings. But after some encouragement from Lois, she bravely called Kent and asked him out. To her surprise, he said yes.
I was just wondering if you maybe wanted to hang out sometime?
Sure.
Oh, wow, cool. Okay, I'll text you. Ah! Yes!
On their date, Kent even picked her up and took her to the movies. While other couples were getting cozy, Meg tried to lean in too, but Kent kept pulling away. After walking her home, Kent finally confessed. He's gay and only sees Meg as a friend. Just another example of how unfair the world seems to be to Meg.
I'm sorry, Meg. I think you're great, and I love hanging out with you. But there's something you should know. I'm gay.
But the biggest shock was still to come. Kent admitted the guy he actually liked was Chris.
Look, I really like you as a friend, but to be honest, I like Chris.
What?
Yeah, the person I'm attracted to is your brother.
Now, the question is, would Meg give up or fight for her love? Determined to turn Kent straight, Meg made her move, but it only scared Kent off.
Well, I'll help him figure things out. I'll help him figure out that he's straight.
So Meg, in her desperation, came up with one of the wildest plans ever. She tried to matchmake Kent and Chris, then asked Chris to describe what it felt like to be with Kent so that she could live the moment vicariously through her brother. Yep, that's easily one of the most insane ideas I've ever heard.
Well, if Kent hooks up with your brother, you could just have Chris describe every last detail to you.
Oh my god, that's it!
Meg approached Chris and reminded him of the free birthday hug he had promised her on her 9th birthday, a gift she never used. But instead of a hug, she asked him to rub butts with Ken. Unsurprisingly, Chris said no, even when Meg offered him an extra $100.
I said no, Meg!
I'll pay you $100.
Oh, fine. I'll keep it in my bum. There'll be plenty of room. That's my sarcastic way of saying it's not gonna happen. Good day, Meg!
So, Meg went to Quagmire for some sleeping pills and told Kent that Chris liked him too. Her plan? Drug Chris, let Kent make a move, and later ask Chris how it felt. But just as she was about to go through with it, Chris, noticing Meg seemed upset, comforted her. That moment of kindness made Meg change her mind. She decided not to drug Chris and send Kent a message to clear things up, but Kent didn't see it in time. That night, he climbed into Chris's room, and everything unraveled. Meg had no choice but to confess her entire plan and apologize. Kent and Chris were furious and walked away. Meg returned to her room in disappointment. Brian came to comfort her, helping lift her mood and bring her back to herself. Hard to believe, isn't it? That the shy, invisible Meg could come up with a plan so bold and ridiculous. Maybe we've all been underestimating her this whole time. During a garage sale at the Griffin house, Peter had his driver's license revoked after driving recklessly, disturbing the peace and damaging several cars. Unable to let Peter stay at home, where he'd just get into more mischief, Lois decided to hire a personal driver for him. That driver? Meg.
Look, Peter, it's getting a little annoying having you around the house all the time, so you'll be happy to know I got you your own personal driver.
My own driver? Holy crap, that's awesome! Where is he?
She's right here, Peter.
Meg?
Peter wasn't thrilled. In fact, he claimed that losing his license was better than having Meg drive him around. But with no other choice, he reluctantly went along. Meg didn't just have to drive Peter, she also had to chauffeur Quagmire, Cleveland, and Joe during their outings. But the four guys were anything but calm passengers. They made noise, joked around, and constantly picked on Meg. And then, she snapped. The quiet, bullied Meg slammed on her brakes in the middle of the road. The car behind them couldn't stop in time and crashed into them. The angry driver stepped out to confront Meg, but the second he saw the fiery wrath of a furious teenage girl, he froze. Before he could react, Meg unleashed a brutal beatdown. Beaten and bruised, the poor man dragged himself back into his car and sped away like his life depended on it. Lesson learned: never mess with an angry woman. Luckily for the four men in Meg's car, she had already cooled down. Otherwise, Quahog Hospital might have received 4 new orthopedic patients. Back at home, Lois disapproved of Meg's behavior and urged her to apologize. But Peter? He thought it was awesome. He even praised Meg for being super cool.
You should have seen what our amazing freaking daughter did to that guy, Lois. She kicked his ass. It was like what life did to Dana Plato.
From that point on, Peter had no problem with Meg driving him. In fact, the two began teaming up to cause mayhem all over Quahog. Who would have thought that Meg, the shy, overlooked, boring Meg, would suddenly become Peter's perfect partner in crime? They shared laughs, chaos, and a real father-daughter bond. At least until the inevitable happened. Peter got his license back, and Meg was once again pushed to the sidelines.
Good news. Your suspension is up. You can have your license back.
Who wants a glass of fresh lemonade?
Not me! What I want is a fresh glass of better daughter!
But this time, she didn't mind. Meg smiled, genuinely happy, because for once, she had a taste of adventure, acceptance, and something even rarer, a moment of connection with her dad. In the episode Steroids, Connie, the most popular girl in school, created a bizarre challenge. She'd date the biggest loser in school to make him famous. And of course, that unlucky winner was Chris Griffin.
What if I date a loser and make him over into a popular guy?
Ellie McGee.
Hello.
Nah, I hear he's a bedwetter.
And Chris Griffin?
Oh my god, I could smell him from here. He's perfect.
But to everyone's surprise, Chris's genuine heart actually won Connie over and they became an official couple. Meg, hoping to ride the wave of her brother's sudden fame, tried to get close to Chris, but both he and Connie completely ignored her. Meg was left frustrated and bitter. At a party held at the Griffin house, the fame got to Chris's head. He acted arrogant, cheated on Connie, and dumped her, leaving her hurt and angry. With no one else to turn to, Connie asked Meg for help. Normally, Meg wouldn't dare raise her voice to someone like Connie, but being approached only when Connie was desperate pushed Meg over the edge. She flipped out, unleashed all her bottled-up rage, and ripped Connie a new one, accusing her of only acknowledging Meg when she had no other option.
You see this, Connie? This is from when you called me sticky-ass cow in 6th grade. This one is from when you made a plaster cast of my vagina freshman year. You want my help? You can go fuck yourself!
After getting everything off her chest, Meg turned to leave until Chris made a snide comment. That was the final straw.
Hey, Meg, think fast! Loser!
Alright, let's do it.
Meg spun around, teamed up with Connie, and plotted revenge against her own brother. They enlisted Nail, a fellow student, to play a humiliating video of Chris cross-dressing during his speech in front of the entire school. The result? Chris became a laughingstock and his cool guy image instantly crumbled. But it came at a price. Meg had to take a shower with Nail as part of the deal. Who would have thought Meg, sweet forgotten Meg, would stab her own brother in the back just to get even? This girl is getting more dangerous by the day. While Bonnie's father was in the hospital, she asked Meg to help take care of baby Susie and assist Joe with his daily needs. Meg was so dedicated that she missed her school bus, and Joe personally drove her to school in his police cruiser. On the way, Joe was kind, asked how she was doing, and even promised to protect her from bullies. Enough to make Meg's admiration quickly turn into full-blown affection.
Yeah, that's my boyfriend.
In the days that followed, Meg fully embraced the role of caretaker, so much that she started acting like Joe's wife and Susie's mom. She even wore Bonnie's dress, inserting herself into the household like she truly belonged.
Hi, honey.
What? What'd you say?
I just said hi.
Is that Bonnie's dress?
Oh, yeah. Susie spit up on me and I didn't want to go all the way home, so I just threw this on. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
During their talks, Joe would occasionally say things that Meg misinterpreted as romantic interest, even though that was never his intent.
How are your eggs, Joe?
She just called me Joe. That's kind of weird. But I'll just let it slide. She's got nothing going on. Besides, what harm could it do?
They're delicious, Meg. Thanks.
You're welcome, Joe. He let me say twice now. It's like we're married.
But when Bonnie announced she was coming back, Meg snapped. Desperate to keep Joe all to herself, she devised a plan. Meg stole Joe's gun, snuck it into Bonnie's luggage at the airport, and watched as Bonnie got arrested by security. Joe, clueless, had no idea what happened. A woman in love might just be scarier than an armed criminal. That night at dinner, Meg subtly hinted at her feelings for Joe, and even breastfed Susie right at the table, causing Joe to recoil in horror. The next morning, Joe went straight to Peter and Lois to talk about Meg's behavior. At first, they didn't believe him, until Meg showed up saying creepy things that confirmed everything. Lois tried to explain that Meg was likely experiencing Florence Nightingale syndrome, where caregivers develop romantic feelings towards those they care for. But Meg wouldn't hear it. She launched herself into Joe's wheelchair, hoping to paralyze herself so that they could be soulmates.
Meg, what the hell did you do?
I made us the same, Joe. We're exactly alike, you and I. Now we can be together.
Panicked, Joe rushed her to the hospital. There, he gently explained that he did care about Meg, but only as a neighbor, like an uncle, not as a romantic partner. Realizing her mistake, Meg apologized to Joe and Bonnie for the trouble she caused their family. One day while hanging out at a pool hall, Meg met a surprisingly handsome guy named Seymour. On their way home, they stopped by a 7-Eleven. But out of nowhere, Seymour pulled out a gun and walked inside, leaving Meg stunned in the car. Moments later, the alarm rang and Seymour came running out with a bag full of cash, jumped in the car, and shouted for Meg to drive. At first, Meg panicked, but as the car sped up, weaving through traffic, something unexpected happened. She loved it. The thrill, the speed, the danger, it all awakened something inside her. She drove like a pro, and together they evaded the police. From that moment on, Meg and Seymour became a criminal duo, robbing convenience stores all over Quahog. High-speed chases, close calls, and death-defying stunts like jumping over train tracks, Meg was no longer the shy, awkward girl we all knew. She was bold, confident, alive. Their bond grew stronger with each getaway, and soon, Meg and Seymour fell in love. But Chris eventually discovered what was going on. He noticed something wasn't right with Meg, but had no idea how to help her. During their next heist, Meg showed off her elite driving skills, helping Seymour escape once again. As they celebrated their latest victory, the police suddenly stormed in and shot Seymour on the spot. Meg fled the scene, but crashed moments later. Just then, Chris appeared and revealed the shocking truth. None of it was real. The robberies, the romance, the chase, it was all a mustard-induced hallucination. Meg had eaten so much mustard that she slipped into a vivid fantasy. In reality, she had never left the car wash. When Karen, a professional wrestler and Peter's older sister, came to play with the Griffin family for a few days, Peter immediately became her favorite punching bag. She bullied him mercilessly, physically and emotionally, and worst of all, right in front of everyone. And no one understood that pain better than Meg. Not wanting to see her father humiliated any longer, Meg opened up to Peter and encouraged him to stand up for himself, urging him to challenge Karen in the ring, her own battlefield. On the day Karen was set to receive her championship belt, Peter suddenly showed up and called her out to a fight in front of the whole crowd.
I'm Maxie Patty, which is short for Maxine Patricia. I was named after my father, Maxwell Patrick. But that's enough about me. I'm here to kick your ass.
All right, get up here, but make it quick.
Though Peter did give it his all, it was clear he was no match for a seasoned wrestler like Karen. She dominated the match, and Peter was on the verge of total defeat. But just as things were about to go south, a mysterious wrestler leapt into the ring. Teen Laquifa. With surprising strength and flawless technique, Teen Laquifa took Karen down and saved Peter from being utterly crushed. Then came the big reveal. Teen Laquifa was Meg. For the first time, we saw Meg as a fearless, fierce fighter, yet still full of heart. She didn't just stand up to a bully, she stood up for her father, someone who had hurt her countless times, but whom she still loved deeply. Over 20 seasons of Family Guy, Meg Griffin, often seen as the most forgettable member of the Griffin family, has actually delivered some of the wildest, most rebellious, and explosive moments of teenage chaos. Because when someone gets ignored for too long, that pain can turn into a ticking time bomb. And when it goes off, nobody sees it coming. In the insane world of Family Guy, sometimes the most terrifying force isn't the loudest one. It's the one you never paid attention to. Meg Griffin, the so calculated background character, might just be the wild card no one saw coming.